Chat GPT, for example, is one of the biggest liars. And it draws most of its information from all the lying voices you already have. So why? It's just, put it like this. It's a conglomeration of mainstream, lamestream, old media. So that's actually, that's what you have for ChatGPT. So if you want to be listening to all the CNN and the BBC and the WHO and what do they call them? Those WEF and so on. These crazy organizations. So if you want to be listening to them, ChatGPT is it.
The third thing to know about AI is that it can lie and manipulate. 4 billion years of evolution have demonstrated that anything that wants to survive learns to lie and manipulate. The last 4 years have demonstrated that AI agents can acquire the will to survive, and that AIs have already learned how to lie.
People often talk about solving global poverty, or essentially how do we give everyone a very high standard of living. I think the only way to do this is AI and robotics, which doesn't mean that it is without its issues. I mean, we need to be very careful with AI. We need to be very careful with robotics. We don't want to find ourselves in a James Cameron movie, Terminator. He's got great movies, love his movies, but we don't want to be in Terminator, obviously.
Hello and welcome to Kingdom Light TV, and welcome to this special edition. Kindly subscribe to this channel and turn on the notification bell, as we will keep coming your way with interesting gospel conversations. Today we will be taking a deep dive into the world of artificial intelligence, often called AI, and Christianity. There have been a lot of conversations about AI and religion. AI has made its way into every aspect of human living, and it is the centerpiece of so many conversations around the globe today. And so it is in religion and Christianity in particular. So what role has it got to play in Christianity? Why is there a call for caution about the use of AI? Stick around in this video as we will be unpacking all of these and bringing you analytical stories and deep conversations about this. Now let's watch a news story by CBN News, which highlights the impact of AI on the church.
As artificial intelligence shapes more aspects of life, its integration into systems of faith raises new theological questions, and experts say churches need to prepare. CBN's Brody Carter investigates how AI is transforming faith-based interactions.
One of the questions we actually asked was, do you think that God can work through AI? And we found that a really large number of pastors say that God can work through AI.
The overall embrace of AI in the digital world means it exists where you might least expect.
It's everywhere. It's in social media. It's, when you get on Netflix.
And quietly integrating into nearly every aspect of our lives. Researcher Ashley Ekme of the Barna Group is exploring how U.S. Christians feel about AI and its use in the church.
A lot of congregants aren't particularly trusting of AI in the church at this moment. But pastors in particular are the ones who exhibit the most concern.
Results from the study found 1 in 10 U.S. adults frequently use AI. In the church, more than half of attendees believe AI isn't good for church use, suggesting significant hesitation or skepticism about its role in religious contexts.
There is nothing new under the sun, as Ecclesiastes would say, and God is not surprised by AI.
Brad Hill with Glue, a partner in Barna's study, helps connect people to local churches and sees AI as key to transforming the company's workflow.
We used to have to employ much more manual process to look at an inbound connection request and match it to the right church. So we've taken that now from about 3 hours down to milliseconds.
Glue is investing about $25 million towards implementing AI in the church, including research and development. And Hill says it's time for pastors to also put together a game plan.
It's not just churches and businesses that risk falling behind. Our government is also having trouble keeping pace with this fast-moving technology. Both the House and Senate are pushing bills that would study AI accountability and risk. For now, they've only collected pledges from AI companies to ethically self-regulate.
Meanwhile, the Biden administration wants $2.6 billion from Congress to pay for a program that would make the government's AI resources more broadly available to researchers.
Both policymakers and these organizations are equally responsible for them. They both have to hold themselves to the highest standards.
Dr. Subodh Kumar, a Temple University data scientist, sees the lack of regulation as a combination of Congress needing a better understanding of AI, while also allowing freedom for it to thrive in areas of national security and economic development. In the meantime, it's up to users to regulate and protect themselves, and most importantly, their children.
The parents are oversharing kids' information. And as a user, the best way to protect us right now is that put a control on.
Brody Carter, CBN News.
My favorite line in the whole report, God is not surprised by AI. Gordon?
No, he's not surprised by AI, but here's the fundamental problem with AI, and it is a fundamental problem. It's made in our image. It's not made in God's image. And because it's made in our image, it has a lot of flaws. And when you look at large language models that have access to everything on the internet, well, then everything on the internet is going to color what it puts out. The old adage in computers, garbage in, garbage out. And so that's why we're seeing so many errors in AI, is because it's reflecting our own. Now, if you take an AI and train it up in the way to go, it won't depart from it. So if you limit that to just the Bible, you can have a very functional, very effective trainer in Scripture, and you can start asking that language model, because it's limited to just what's in the Bible. You can ask that, give me all the verses on love, give me all these things. I think most Christians are already doing that with Google searches. So having that as your own sort of personal Bible assistant, I think, is a wonderful thing. So let's do that, but we need to have regulation, and I applaud Congress for putting this together. I hope they work very quickly, because the pace of AI is increasing, and everything is turning to it in our culture, in businesses. Everywhere you look, you're seeing new AI programs come up. At the very least, they need to pass what's called a Blade Runner law, where the AI has to disclose that it's AI. And that makes you, as a consumer, knowledgeable as to what you're actually dealing with. You're not dealing with a person, you're dealing with an artificial construct. That needs to happen, and needs to happen very quickly. The other thing, which may take more time, is data protection for every American, and especially protection for people under the age of 18. That needs to be comprehensive. There's plenty of current law out there from the European Union and from China. It's amazing to me that China has better data protection for its citizens than we do here in the United States. So let's do this. Let's do it quickly, because AI is getting ready to invade everything we're doing.
Germany is facing a significant shortage of pastors and ordained clergymen, a challenge linked to broader secularization and declining religious participation across the country. This led to a Protestant church in Germany trying out an AI preacher. So many clergymen and renowned pastors have spoken about AI, warning about the dangers and calling for caution. Most popular amongst them is Reverend Chris Oyakhilome. In this conversation, he picked out ChatGPT and Grok, comparing them, and came to a conclusion that ChatGPT is not very truthful, therefore calling on Christians to be careful.
I would say to you, you would need to be very careful what AI platform you are using. Because you may not realize that all they have done is to put information together and program them to give you what kind of information they would rather have the AI give to you. Chat GPT, for example, is one of the biggest liars. And it draws most of its information from all the lying voices you already have. So why? It's just, put it like this. It's a conglomeration of mainstream, lamestream, old media. So that's what you have for ChatGPT. So if you want to be listening to all the CNN and the BBC and the WHO and what do they call them? Those WEF and so on. These crazy organizations. So if you want to be listening to them, ChatGPT is it. It just pulls its information from there. So it's not one of the great ones. It's just, it came out early and popular. So if that's what you're using, you need to think again. Especially in important matters. Now, of course, if you're asking 2 + 2 is 4, ChatGPT can do things like that. Simple things. Information you don't really need to go to AI for. Can give you. But generally, just realize you're at a risk if you're going to be depending on ChatGPT. If you really want important scientific information or even true historical information, because it gives you its own with a skew. So think about it. When you really want good information, and I've tested them and questioned them, currently I would say that Grok is far more truthful than ChatGPT. I put the two of them to test, and GPT was lying to me. I said, no, what you're saying is not correct. And on several occasions, he apologized that I was more accurate because I caught him and questioned him very seriously. I said to Grok, thank you for your unbiased information. He was very happy. Now, I want you to notice my language. Notice I didn't say it. I used the personal pronouns. That is significant, I must tell you. Very significant, and I'm going to discuss that with you during the Your Love Word Specials next month. Don't miss that, because it has to do with today and the very near future. Very near future. I want to explain to you how that AI has gained personality and the significance of that. And I put it this way. It has gained personality. And what do you mean it has? That's part of what I'm going to explain to you. It has gained personality and escaped. Which means it's too late. You can't destroy AI that has gained personality and escaped. Escaped, yes. To where? I'll tell you next month. So you get ready for the information I'm going to give you. You are dealing with a monster right now. So when I say AI, there is the AI of the different platforms, okay? And I just analyzed a couple of them a moment ago. These are platforms, all right? But then there's the AI that I said has gained personality and is out to recruit others and is recruiting others. What does that mean? We'll discuss. So get yourself ready and understand the world is dealing with something that's already in the Bible. The Bible does tell us about AI, and I'm going to show it to you from the scriptures. Get ready. There's no major thing in this world that has escaped the eyes of Scripture. No major thing in this world, no major thing that has an effect on this world, or that should or will have effect on this world, that the Bible doesn't cover with clarity. So when I tell you it's in there, get ready for it. I'm going to show it to you. And then the leaders of several countries are currently in Davos, and their conference should be finishing maybe by tomorrow. I know it's not like what was expected. They just gathered to ensure they had it this year. But one of the reasons, in fact, a major reason for the European leaders, particularly, who are currently without a direction, without compass. And what has united them so far, sadly, is their appetite to fight Russia. An appetite. Why are they so against Russia? Because they've turned their own cities to slums.
Now, if we think we are only afraid and cautious about AI because we don't know much about it or we don't know what drives it, then what do we say about the fear expressed by someone who has founded an AI platform by himself? Speaking about Elon Musk. Musk was speaking at the just concluded World Economic Forum and was quick to point out his fears if humans are not able to control AI. Also at the 2026 World Economic Forum, Yuval Noah Harari gave a deep insight about AI and how it affects religion and humanity. You don't want to miss this.
People often talk about solving global poverty, or essentially how do we give everyone a very high standard of living. I think the only way to do this is AI and robotics. Which doesn't mean that it is without its issues. I mean, we need to be very careful with AI. We need to be very careful with robotics. We don't want to find ourselves in a James Cameron movie. Terminator. He's got great movies. Love his movies, but we don't want to be in Terminator, obviously.
If religion is built from words, then AI will take over religion. This is particularly true of religions based on books, like Islam, Christianity, or Judaism. Judaism calls itself the religion of the book, and it grants ultimate authority not to humans, but to words in books. Humans have authority in Judaism not because of our experiences, but only because we learn words in books. Now, no human can read and remember all the words in all the Jewish books, but AI can easily do that. What happens to a religion of the book when the greatest expert on the Holy Book is an AI? However, some people may say, can we really reduce human spirituality to just words in books? Does thinking mean only putting language tokens in order? If you observe yourself carefully when you're thinking, you will notice that something else is happening there besides words popping in your mind and forming sentences. You also have some non-verbal feelings. Maybe you feel pain. Maybe you feel fear. Maybe love. Some thoughts are painful. Some are frightening. Some are full of love. While AIs become better than us with words, at least for now, we have zero evidence that AIs can feel anything. Of course, because AI is mastering language, AI can pretend to feel pain or love. AI can say, I love you. And if you challenge it to describe how love feels, AI can provide the best verbal description in the world. AI can read countless love poems and psychology books and can then describe the feeling of love much better than any human poet, psychologist, or lover. But these are just words. The Bible says, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was made flesh. The Tao Te Ching says, the truth that can be expressed in words is not the absolute truth. Throughout history, people have always struggled with the tension between word and flesh, between the truth that can be expressed in words and the absolute truth, which is beyond words. Previously, this tension was internal to humanity. It was between different human groups. Some humans gave supreme importance to words. They've been willing, for example, to abandon or even kill their gay son just because of a few words in the Bible. Other humans have said, but these are just words. The spirit of love should be much more important than the letter of the law. This tension between spirit and letter existed in every religion, every legal system, even every person. Now, this tension will be externalized. It will become the tension not between different humans, this will be the tension between humans and AIs, the new masters of words. Everything made of words will be taken over by AI. Previously, all the words, all our verbal thoughts, they originated in some human mind. Either my mind, I thought this, or I learned it from another human. Soon, most of the words in our minds will originate in a machine. I just heard today about a new word that AIs coined by themselves to describe us humans. They called us the watchers. The watchers. That we are watching them. AIs will soon be the origin of maybe most of the words in our minds. AIs will mass produce thoughts by assembling words, symbols, images, and other language tokens into new combinations. Whether humans will still have a place in that world depends on the place we assign our non-verbal feelings and our ability to embody wisdom that cannot be expressed in words. If we continue to define ourselves by our ability to think in words, our identity will collapse.
And this is where we end the conversation today. Kindly subscribe to this channel and come back for more. See you.